Hello, good evening. Hi, this is Chow here, your fairy godmother from the Netherlands. Welcome to Facebook Live with your fairy godmother, episode 38. Today is Thursday, 24th of October. Today's Facebook Live, I have a special guest, so I'm going to bring him up to the show. Good. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. And yourself?
Fine, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming to my show. You can hear me, I suppose.
Yes,
Okay, so audience, this is my guest, Huni from Iceland. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
that's right.
All right, so Huni, we have been connected on Facebook a few months back,
Yeah.
and I was actually fascinated by the things that you do because he's a life coach. You are also a health coach. You're an author. You're a speaker. You're a healer, and you are also the financial support at an orphanage. So I'm really fascinated by the things that you did or you do
Well,
now.
thank you for that introduction. First, before I start talking about that, I'd just like to say that I'm intrigued by the things that you do. It's amazing to see the transformation that the fairy godmother does online. It's just amazing.
Oh, looks like Fairy Godmother is working the brand.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that now. But we're talking about you today and about your African project.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so let's introduce yourself to the network. People do not know you yet.
Yeah, okay. My name is Huni Hunfjord from Iceland. And yeah, I've been working on this project from Iceland to Kenya. And where should I start?
Is this an ongoing project or is it already completed?
No, it's an ongoing project. So it's taking a turn now from being a project of supporting an orphanage, changing it into an educational system. So we're building a school now.
I see. I see. So changing the orphanage to an educational school
Yes, that's correct.
in Kenya.
Yes.
And how did you come up with this idea?
Well, it's probably like so many other ideas. It was like took 30 years to happen overnight. You know. So I remember that from when I was young, I always wanted to help, feed orphanage, not orphanage, but orphans. But I never wanted to just send fish. I wanted to teach them how to fish.
Mm-hmm.
And and in 2015, I was actually looking at opening a company in South Africa for refugees, and kind of with a new perspective of a company that teaches people how to become independent, through teaching them work
Mm-hmm.
and giving them work. And as I was contemplating and uh, um, putting a strategy together, I was contacted by a man named Goodwin from Kenya who had 10 orphans.
Mm-hmm.
So I started supporting them. And then gradually, the idea about the company, and the orphanage, it kind of glued together. It came together. Why not just do it there? The same thing, because we can teach them at an early age, you know, how to keep the power that we're all born with, instead of putting them to the traditional limiting educational systems around the world.
Mm-hmm. So it actually started with 10 orphans, you said.
Yes, and now we have 35.
Wow, now 35. And what is the progress right now in Kenya at the orphanage? Is it now renovating or what is this at which stage it is?
Okay, so in November last year, I went there to buy the adjacent land, that's next to the orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And we've drawn up plans to build, and we have started building the bricks for the first house already.
Wow.
So we're ongoing and we're just seeking supporters to join the project.
So you're getting fundraisers, sponsors.
We have a few that have
Hmm.
joined us now, but it's been me, Goodwin, and his parents in the beginning, and then slowly we've had people come in and go too. So it's, I think, one of the biggest challenges I've had by presenting this idea. It's so far out of the normal view of the educational system.
Hmm.
It's way outside the comfort zone, way out the ideas that we have about the educational system today. But for me, I'm well educated, and when I finished my master's degree and film school, I started to be mentored by people around the world that are already impacting the world. And
Yeah.
every time I would learn something by these people, I would always ask the same question. Why is this not taught in schools?
Hmm.
Why didn't I learn this at an early age? And where would I be if I did?
Right. So you actually had a background in filming, you just said.
Yes,
So you're
yeah.
going to teach them filming in Kenya?
Yes, of course. We're going to teach them a lot of different stuff, filming, graphic design, we're
Hmm.
going to engineering, but, everything's going to be directed towards children, of course. When we teach them engineering, we're going to teach them how to build in 3D printers,
Right.
to make toys and how to market and so forth, how to brand, like fairy godmother branding, you know.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
But are you also involved in selection of teachers of what kind of subject to teach them?
Yeah, so we're not at that stage yet, but we have just set down the main things that we're going to teach them. I had a brief chance to meet the kids when I was over there.
Hmm.
I stayed with them for 3 weeks and taught them different subjects, just touched on it, and just to see that even with communication difficulties, because they didn't speak so good English,
Right.
so we had to translate what I was teaching them. But the power that the children have is so unbelievable. Things that takes us, me and you, a long time to learn, they just get right away.
They have the desire to learn, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just simple transformation, like yourself so well.
Hmm.
When you take the kids and they project themselves into being something that's going to impact the environment and the future, you just see these kids just change,
Right.
right then and there.
And I'm curious, how old are these children?
They are from 3 year old to 15, the oldest.
3 year old. Wow.
Yeah.
A 3 year old who has lost his or her parents.
Yeah, so it's there are very different situations behind why they are with us. Some of them we just find on the street and we don't even know where they come from.
Hmm. So can I say that all of them do not have a knowledge of English at all? So they have to start from the basic?
Well, that's what we're working on now. So the foundation behind us being able to go over there and start teaching is that Goodwin,
Hmm.
he's teaching them English every day, reading to them and teaching them.
I
But
see.
English is a second language in Kenya, and most people speak pretty good English there.
Hmm. Very interesting. So,
Yeah.
when is the school complete will be completed? Which year?
Well, it depends on how fast we get people to come on board, of course, but without anybody stepping on board right now, we plan to have the first school.
Hmm.
We're going to have 7 buildings total. The first building is going to be built at the end of next year. So then we're going to start teaching and we're going to have some teachers come over.
End of next year. Okay. Wow. For those of you who are watching right now who might be interested, to be part of this project, they can contact you directly, right?
Yes, of course.
And
I would be honored.
why Kenya? Why Kenya of all places?
Okay, so that's a good question. It's why not? But it's not like that I chose Kenya. It was more like when you have some dreams and that you're trying to manifest and you're focused on them, the solutions don't necessarily come from where you expect them to come from. So it's more like Kenya presented itself as an opportunity to make an impact. So it's more like Kenya found me than I found Kenya.
Ah, that's interesting because Africa is so huge. There are
Yeah,
also other places in Africa. So there must be a good reason that you have chosen Kenya, but they chose you.
basically. Well, it's my mind was wide open, so I was open
Hmm.
to the opportunities. Me and Goodwin went through a situation where I tried him out, to see if it was a scam or if it was this or it was that. And then we just built a relationship. And by the second year of supporting them, we already had doubled the orphans.
Hmm.
And then I started talking about the school, and he said, yes, I have plans to do a school too. And then we started talking about this, why not do something that's going to impact the world,
Yep, very, very good. So what was your ultimate goal with this project? What did you want to get out of it by doing something like this?
What I want is I do not, I'm not seeking recognition for myself. I just want this to be something that governments or people in education around the world, public or private,
Hmm.
look at and see how we did it, because we're basically, if we can do it there, you can do it anywhere.
True.
Yeah.
And I'm sure during this journey, the process, you face a lot of challenges. Can you share it with us? What kind of challenges you have faced along the way?
I think, like I said before, though, the biggest challenge that I've had is to tell people what I'm doing because they have a hard time visualizing the finish line. So the more of the project that materializes in this world, the more that we do, the bricks that we're building, the stories that we can tell when we taught the children, how they reacted, what we're doing, what we're teaching, the more we can do of that, the more proof we have, the more people understand, oh, okay,
Hmm.
you're doing it that way. Okay, now I see what you're talking about. So I think that's the biggest obstacle. Every time you do something that's not been done before, you can't just look at somebody else and say, oh, they did it this way, let's do it that way. You know?
True. And a few months ago, I've also I posted something on my timeline that I have this interest to do a project in Africa as well.
Yeah.
So I am in contact with someone in Africa to discuss this project. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I saw your African project. So this is a good time to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's
absolutely.
one thing. You mentioned children between 3 and 15. Why not adults? And why children?
Well, because it's such a different thing, with coaches and mentors around the world today that, and including myself, when I teach grown-ups,
Hmm.
we always have to start by removing habits and limited learned behavior before we can teach them. And we are not teaching, just like when you're educating an adult, you always have to not fight, but teach like should I say personalities. So it's the
Yep.
person, and then it's the what do you call it? The left brain.
This one.
But yeah.
The
So
mindset?
about Yeah, so around like 10 to 15 years old, we start moving into our analytical brain, right?
Yeah.
And so, for example, when we're teaching something like healing methods, which we are all born with great abilities to heal, for
Hmm.
example, the grown-up will always ask, why? How much? What is happening when I put my hand over somebody and I'm actually healing him? How much energy is going in? Where is the energy coming from? How is this working? The
Hmm.
kids will just do it and heal. And then, because if it works, why do you have to know exactly where it comes from? Maybe the teacher doesn't even know exactly where it comes from, but we
Yep.
know this method works and so forth, So it's a lot easier to teach children because they'll do and they'll be a lot more powerful in doing it. And also with grown-ups, we'll have to break down what you think is real and what you believe before you start believing something new, because it might be something that you have never been taught that's possible.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, because adults, they have experience in life, and then their mindset is a bit challenging for them, for you to change it or even shift it. So teaching children is much easier at this stage.
Yeah, and they are a lot more powerful. And my idea is that when we get going and start teaching that, because the idea behind the school is not just impacting the lives of these orphans, but the entire environment around them. So what I want to see happening in 1 to 5 years from now is that the kids will have seminars or what should I say, like workshops, maybe 1 or 2 times a week, where the community comes and they do work on the grown-ups. So they teach by doing, right? Supervised by the teachers, but the children are teaching. You see?
Yeah.
So we're going to reverse the role.
Wow. I'm actually quite interested in your project. Maybe we can talk privately how I can contribute to your project as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for those of you who have just joined, we are talking to my guest, Huni from Iceland, about his African project, turning an orphanage to a school, from 3 children to 15 orphans right now. So how often do you travel to Kenya?
I've only been there once so far. So the next trip will be when we have finished making all the bricks, everything's ready for the house. I will go there to build the first building myself, and hopefully have some people to come with me.
Interesting, very interesting. All right. So, Huni, what kind of advice can you give to those people who have this passion like you, who are also interested in raising money, doing charity work in Africa or in other parts of the world?
Well, it doesn't matter where you're going to do it. You could do it in your hometown. But the thing that I would say is, if you're doing something that's been done before, look at how people have done that, and you don't have to invent the wheel.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something like I'm doing that has not been done before, then the only thing that I have to say is, I know it's not going to sound like a cliche, but don't let anybody steal your dreams, because you're going to have a lot of naysayers. You're going to have a lot of people that don't understand your vision. I've had a lot of people tell me, you're crazy. Why are you doing it like that? Why this? Why can't you do it like this and that? So I'm talking to the analytical brain. You know how many children have told me that this is crazy? None.
Right. If you have listened to them, you would not have moved forward with your project, I suppose.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You just believe in yourself and just do it, right?
You just keep on going. And as you progress, like the milestones that you go through, the more clear your vision becomes. The people that started in the garages, like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and all these guys, there were not a lot of people that believed in them in the beginning, but they saw the vision the whole way. They saw this, it might change on the way, but they saw something big,
Right.
And they took steps and they started building the first computer, the first software, the first this, the first that. And then people said, oh my God, these guys are doing something.
So if there is someone watching this Facebook Live right now and who wants to contact you and talk about this project, how can they reach you?
I think the best way is to reach me. I'm probably tagged on this video, right?
Yep, you are.
Just connect with me through Facebook. That's going to be the easiest way, and then we can schedule a call or whatever, or just through Messenger or something.
That would be great. That would be great. Now, it's really a pleasure chatting with you today and understanding your project in Kenya, and it really gives us an insight of what you're doing and helping children in Africa. It's really enjoyable. So thank you so much for coming to my show today.
Thank you.
And
I
wish you all the best in your project, and I'll talk to you real soon. Right?
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Huni. Ciao.
Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.